Hello everyone. If you're watching this video, that means you made it to our orientation. So I know it's kind of confusing because on the class schedule on my mjc.com it says that we're meeting in person today, January 17th, but we're not going to do that because I think I said in my email I recently had a baby about a month ago, and it's just really hard to get away from him. And my dean, she kind of suggested just doing a video. So I'll try to do my best to answer any questions you may have, but if you still have questions at the end, please email me or feel free to message me on Canvas or through my email, whatever's easier. So I thought we'll probably just go over the syllabus, and then hopefully I'll explain everything pretty well. It's kind of a lot of information thrown at you at once, so sorry ahead of time. But if you still have any questions, please feel free to email me about anything. No problem too small or no question too silly to ask. I know I used to think that as a student. Don't think that. Yeah, that's what we're here for, answering questions and to help. So, and then if you're enrolled in the class, you'll stay enrolled as long as you enroll, or as long as you get access to the MyMathLab homework by January 25th. We'll talk about that more as we go over the syllabus, but that's kind of your cutoff date. Just kind of a proof to me that you still want to be in the class. Since we don't have an orientation in person, I can't really take roll. So yeah, you enrolling in MyMathLab homework by January 25th would be the signal to me that you still want to be in the class. But like I said, we'll talk more about that as we go through the syllabus. And then for those that are on the wait list, I'll say, I think what we'll do is I'll just say, anybody that's on the wait list that wants to add will email me and say, can I have an ad code? So either through my school email, which is listed here, this guy here. So either that or through Canvas, one or the other. As long as you email me and ask for an ad code, then I know that you actually still want to add the class. I would just send an ad code to everyone on the wait list, but I'm not sure who. Anyway, I'm not sure who actually wants to still be in the class, and that's why I worry about adding everyone, just in case you don't really want to be in the class. So yeah, just if you're on the wait list, please email me and ask for an ad code, and that's all. That's pretty much all you have to do. And then just like the people that are enrolled in the class, make sure you get access to MyMathLab by January 25th. That's the cutoff date. It's about a week from now. I think 8 days from now, yeah. So anyway, I think it's probably time to just start going over the syllabus, hopefully explain it as well as I can. Let's see, so we are Math 111, this is spring 2020, and this is it's a pretty much 100% online class. Everything you do learning-wise is online. Homework's online, quizzes are online. It's only midterms and final exams that are online. So let's see. And I think I emailed you guys about this earlier, just because of it's tough for me to get to campus and be away from the baby for too long. I think we're gonna try to cancel this time. We were supposed to meet for our midterms from 11:55 a.m. to 1:25 p.m. those select Fridays for midterm 1, midterm 2, and final. But I'm going to try to change it to a little earlier, about a couple hours earlier, 9:40, because that's right after my other midterms and finals. So that way I can have them back to back. I've actually gotten word from everyone in the class that says they're okay with that, except one person. So I'm just going to say that we're changing the time, and I'm just hoping that one person finally gets back to me, hopefully. Anyway. So just show up for the midterms and final at 9:40, like it says in the syllabus here. So these are the listed times that we're supposed to meet in person, except for the orientation, of course. That was supposed to be in person, but now it's just watching this video is pretty much the orientation, and then enrolling in MyMathLab by January 25th. Okay, but the midterm is actually in person. That'll be Friday, February 21st, so about a month from now, a little more than a month. And like I said, we're changing the time, so make note of that. Online, it might still say the old time for a little while. I'm hoping to have it changed so that it doesn't confuse anyone, but I have to hold out for that one person to email me back. Let's see, so it'll be 9:40 to 11:10. I know that's kind of a random time. And it'll be in the Science Community Center. That's the big, tall, nice, fancy building on the West Campus, room 325. That'll be the same room every meeting we have, same time. But this is, room 325 will be on the 3rd floor of the building. So I might budget a little extra time just because the building's kind of confusing. Just finding the stairs, finding the elevator, if you've never been there, is kind of confusing. And then finding the right classroom is a little it's a little confusing, so maybe budget an extra 10 or 15 minutes. And then midterm 2, same time, same place. It's just a different day, of course. March 27th, so about a month after the first meeting. And then the final exam, same time, same place, just May 1st. So that'll be the last week for finals. Same time, same place. Okay. Let's see. And if you can't make any of those for some reason, try to talk to me ahead of time and we'll try to accommodate you as best we can. Let's see. Then, oh yeah, I guess I forgot. I didn't introduce myself. I guess sleep deprivation from baby waking you up every couple hours every night for a month. Man, it really takes its toll on your brain, you know? So sorry if I say anything that makes no sense at all. But I forgot to introduce myself. My name's Mrs. U. You can call me. I've been teaching math here at MJC. This is my 5th year full-time, and then I taught part-time for 3 or 4 years. I kind of forget. But I really love it. I've really blessed that this is my job. I enjoy it, which not a lot of people can say. So and this is my email listed here. I don't technically have office hours because this is kind of my maternity leave semester, I guess. But of course, if you ever need to talk to me, privately, or I don't know, you have a specific math question you want me to work out for you, watching me do it, then we can always schedule some time to have office hours, whether in person or online. We can do some kind of online office hours where I can show you. There's like a whiteboard feature online and everything. It's pretty nice. So you can do it from the comfort of your own home in your pajamas if you want to. But this email is probably the easiest way to get a hold of me if you ever have a question or concern, or you want to schedule a special office hour or something. This guy. But if you email me through Canvas, that'll also work. Email through Canvas. And we'll talk more about Canvas. If you're new to the school, then we'll talk more about how to access Canvas. But Canvas, if you email me through Canvas, then you don't have to remember or type in an email. You just kind of pick that you want to email your instructor. And then I'll get the email through not only my Canvas messaging, but also this email here. So messaging through Canvas is kind of like a double whammy, I guess. I get it through my regular email and I get it through Canvas email. So that might be even better, actually. But either way, works. The next paragraph, just kind of for fun, it just says, welcome to this college if you've never been here before. I hope you feel more comfortable learning online, and it's a tough course and it kind of goes fast, but if you have the time to put into the class and the patience, then you'll do fine. And I think you kind of have to have a lot of self-discipline, of course, to do online classes, because there are due dates, but there's no one really holding you accountable to your face. They're not saying, hey, you need to do this assignment. I see that you're kind of behind. So as long as you kind of stay on top of things and you have the time to put in, I think you're going to be fine. And then if you get behind and you don't understand a concept, please ask me or ask a tutor. There's free tutoring in the library on either campus, the West Campus or the East Campus. On East Campus, the free tutoring is in the library. And then on West Campus, it's also in the library, but the library is in Yosemite Hall, the 2nd floor. So keep that in mind. Yeah, free tutoring in both libraries. Tutoring in library, whichever campus you happen to be on. Let's see, then communication policy. This just pretty much says, I'll try to get back to you within 24 hours. If there's some crazy thing going on in my life, it might be 48 hours. That'd probably be maximum, but I can't imagine that happening. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Make sure, too, that you say, I think the most important is you say which class you're in. You don't have to say the section number, just tell me you're in Math 111, Because I have a couple classes. It's kind of tough. I have to go look up what class is this person in again when I'm answering a question. But if you say I'm in Math 111, then that's plenty. Let's see. Yeah, be specific with your needs. Sometimes I get an email and it kind of goes on, and I'm still not sure by the end what the question is or what's being asked. I know that sounds kind of funny, but sometimes it's true. And what else? How do I get started? Of course, if you have a question now or like in the middle of the semester, you have a question that you're not sure we answered during orientation, maybe you forgot the answer if it was even addressed. But reading the syllabus is a good first step, because a lot of questions are answered in there. Just students might have forgotten because they haven't read it in a month or two. That's understandable. But maybe try to look in the syllabus to see if the answer to your question is in there. If not, of course, you can email me anytime. No, like I said, no question is too silly or too, I don't know, whatever. That's my job. I'm supposed to answer emails no matter what kind of question it is. I'll do my best. And, you know, what else? Oh, yeah, this just says that you're probably going to be spending a lot of time doing your homework or studying for exams. It depends on the person, too. I think if you've already learned this material previously and this is just a review, of course you have to put less time in. And then if you're kind of behind in math, like, you know, even the prerequisite classes for this class, you might have forgotten a lot of the material. You might be putting a little extra time in just to catch up to where you should be. So, you know, it depends on the person and where you're at, but that's probably a good estimate of how much time you're going to be putting in, just so you can budget. And then we have here the textbook. This is the textbook, but you actually don't need the textbook technically. It's not required, it's just optional. What is required, which we'll cover a little bit later in the syllabus, is the MyMathLab access code. MyMathLab access code is required. And that'll give you access to the ebook. Gives access. It'll give access to homework first. So all the homework that you do will be through this website, MyMathLab, and you'll need this code to do it. Not only that, but quizzes. And then also, what was I just saying? Oh, the ebook. So that's kind of why I say you don't really need the book, because if you're getting the MyMathLab access code, then you're going to be reading. You can read the ebook on their website. It's only if you kind of, I don't know, kind of like to have a physical book to read. It is kind of nice. It's just, you know, an extra expense that college students usually don't want to spend because, yeah, it's not easy. So that's the book, but you don't need it really. It's up to you, of course. If you want a textbook, you can get it. If you don't want it, that's fine. And then what else? Our course site is listed there. That'll be MyMathLab. But I'll show you how to get there once we're kind of done with this, going over the syllabus here. Course site. Like I said, failure to enroll in MyMathLab by January 25th will result in the student being dropped. So it's just, like I said, it's kind of my way of seeing if you're actually interested in the class anymore. Because for some reason, especially online classes, people tend to enroll in them and then they don't participate. Like they wanted to drop, but they didn't get a chance to drop. So to me, that would be my clue that you're not really interested anymore. I don't want to waste your time and your money when you're in a class that you don't even want to be in. So then, what else? Yeah, details for logging in for MyMathLab are on page 7 of the syllabus. We'll get there. It's kind of a lot of information to throw at you, sorry. Yeah, and this is important right here. It says important, but it's not really in bold or anything. If the Canvas website is down, because that's where we'll be doing our homework. I'll show you how to get onto the Canvas website, but that's where you'll be doing your homework. Sometimes Canvas will be updating. It'll say, oh, you can't access this site because we're updating. You can always go straight to the MyMathLab website. Instead of going through Canvas, you can just, go straight to MyMathLab and work on your homework and quizzes at that point. So that's kind of a good option. Remember that. Very important. I might put a couple of stars by it. Then, what else? I guess, of course, since this is an online class and you'll be doing homework and quizzes on it on the computer, make sure if you're going to be doing an online class, your computer's a little bit younger. You know, it's not more than 6 years old because it might not be dependable that way. You need some kind of dependable internet, probably high speed, just because, I don't know, quizzes are timed. We'll talk more about quizzes, but they're timed. So if you don't have dependable high-speed internet, you might be, your quizzes, the timed quizzes might be tough for you. And then a current operating system and access to multiple browsers. So that's one thing I wanted to mention, multiple browsers. So I would suggest Google Chrome is probably your best bet. Chrome, let's see. So because there are a couple problems with the other guys, Safari equals sad face. MyMathLab doesn't really work well with Safari. There's all kinds of problems. I think students have said, oh, this happens when I try to do my homework, and that happens. And I've seen a bunch of problems, and it usually ends up that Safari is the one that's, I don't know, the problem. And if you use Google Chrome or another one, it'll work better. MyMathLab, I don't know how to say it. I'm going to say it doesn't like Safari for whatever reason. You would think they'd get on the same page because MyMathLab gets paid enough by all the students, you know, that they could make it so any browser would work, but no. They spend their money elsewhere, obviously. Then what's another one? Internet Explorer. Explorer, you know, I used to use that. but it seems like lately Canvas doesn't like that one. So because our Canvas website and MyMathLab are integrated, it makes it so that we can't use Internet Explorer or Safari. So I don't know if there's I don't really use computers that much. If there's a fourth browser that you like, I'm probably okay. But I know Safari and Internet Explorer won't really work very well. But Google Chrome seems to work. That's the one I've been using. So anyway, and if you don't have access to a reliable computer, or your internet's down for a little while, you can always come to campus. They have computer labs. They have computers in the library available Monday through Thursday, 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. So pretty good, pretty good little time right there. And then let's see, this area here, this stuff you don't really have to worry about. It just says the prerequisites for this class. You're either going to have taken one of these classes, Math 89 and Math 90, or somehow you got in with your GPA, or you took a test. I don't know. For some reason you're in this class, but obviously you're in the class, so you know that. And then this is a course description. Don't really worry about that too much. I just have to put it in the syllabus. It kind of just says this is what you're going to learn. If you pass this class, you should know all these math things. And if you don't, your teacher's terrible. So that's my problem. Don't worry about that. The materials, okay, that's more interesting. Let's see, MyMathLab access code. We kind of talked about that a little bit. You need that. It costs about $70. There's going to be two options. We'll talk more about that again, but the two options, one of them is more expensive. Just get the cheaper option. Cheaper. The $70 one is actually the cheaper option. There's another one that's $100 or $110, I think. That's for if you need MyMathLab for 2 semesters. But this is probably, anyway, yeah. You won't be using the more expensive one. Don't worry about it. It's only if next semester you'd use the same book in another class, but next semester you're probably taking pre-calc, or you're not taking any math ever again, and pre-calc uses a different book. So just pick the cheaper option is the long and short of it. And then you're going to need some kind of scientific calculator or non-graphing calculator. I'd suggest a TI 30 or something in that area, or 30X I think they call it now. Texas Instruments is the brand name. And then let's see. But if you think, well, I'm not really going to use a calculator for the rest of my life after this class, then you don't really need to invest in one. But yeah, you can rent the calculators from the library, either library. All you need is a student ID, and it's free. So you have a calculator for the whole semester, as long as you have a student ID. And I would say, like I said, TI 30 is probably your best bet, because we don't allow the big boys, the graphing ones. TI 84 are not allowed on the exams, because they can do all kinds of things for you that you're supposed to be doing, yourself. So I don't allow TI 84s or the graphing calculators on the exams, but if you want to rent one as well, maybe you can rent both from the library. I'm not sure. These guys are really useful when you do homework, because of course you're doing homework online and I can't see what you're doing. So they're good because they can check your answer. If you graph something, for example, and that's the whole problem, then you can always check it with that guy. So they're useful, but yeah, you can't use them on the exam. I would go for the TI 30 or something like that. Let's see, and then homework and lecture videos. We kind of talked about homework a little bit, but I'll show you the Canvas website, how it's laid out, but how it's going to go is it's going to be a lecture video. It's just going to be a video that I linked from YouTube onto Canvas. And they're usually about 45 minutes each. Some are shorter, some are longer, depends on how complicated the topic is and how many examples we go over. It'll be lecture video, and then it'll be a homework assignment on Canvas. Yeah, it'll look like that. It'll have a lecture video. You watch it 45 minutes, and what you'll be doing is you'll take notes while you're watching it. That'll be almost like you're in class, and you'll get credit for those notes later. Get credit. So that's kind of my way of tricking you into actually watching the video and taking notes. So yeah, you'll take notes as you're watching each lecture video, and then during the next midterm, you're gonna turn in all your notes, and I'll grade them while you're taking your midterm. But I'm not really grading them. I'm just more checking to see if you did it or not. If you took notes, I'm just gonna kind of flip through and say, okay, looks like I see all the sections that we covered in here. Looks like they took notes. Okay, 100%. Or if you missed a couple sections, okay, 90% or 80%, whatever. But they'll be due during the midterms. You'll be turning in your notes. And I'll show you. Let's see. is I have blank notes I'll email to you. They look like, let's see, where are they? Notes. Just kind of grab a random one. Here we go. For some reason there we go. So when you watch the lecture videos, if you haven't looked at them yet, this is what it'll look like. The video will look like, you'll see these notes, and I'll be kind of talking, and you'll just see the screen, and I'll be doing, writing on each problem, kind of working each example out. So these blank notes are what I'll email to you. That way, this saves you a lot of writing. You don't have to write all this down, all the examples and all the step-by-step directions on how to do the problems. You just kind of, what you'll be writing down is exactly what I'm writing in the videos is how to work the problems. So it's up to you if you want to print these out, the notes I send you in the email, or if you want to just write it on kind of a blank paper and then turn those in. I guess the good thing is it'll be cheaper for you to just write it on your own paper because you don't have to pay for the ink and the paper to print. But then the downside is you're writing a lot more down. So it's up to you, whichever you want to do. But I'll get those emailed to you as soon as I can. But that's kind of how it'll work. You'll watch the lecture video, take notes, and then you'll do the homework. And I guess the idea is you can read your notes as you do the homework if you forgot how to do something. And let's see, the one thing I think I forgot to say about homework, where'd it go, is homework, it's due I know it seems kind of random, it's every Wednesday and every Saturday. There'll be some kind of homework due, usually just one section of the book each of those days. And I used to do homework always due on the same day of the week, like they're all due Saturday or they're all due Wednesday. But then I noticed a lot of people just wait till the last minute and then they have a problem finishing it and then they want more time and all that. So this way you kind of have it spread out. That way you don't shove all the homework into the last minute and then run out of time. That's the idea. And the last page of the syllabus has a schedule of what's due when, so you don't forget. And the due dates are on Canvas as well. And quizzes, they're due on select Fridays. So we'll see on the schedule, but most Fridays will have either a midterm or a final or a quiz. Something goes on Fridays. That's like your testing days. And quizzes, they look really similar to homework. It's just the difference is you will be given a limited amount of time to complete the quiz. Whereas the homework, you have however long you want. You can take your time. You can try every problem as many times as you want. But the quiz will be timed, and you only have 2 times to try the quiz. So you're going to kind of do it in the amount of time given. And then if you don't like your score, you could take it again one more time. And MyMathLab will keep whichever one is the higher score. Even if the first time was higher than the second time, it'll keep the higher one. And no late quizzes will be allowed. And make sure you don't, like it says here, don't log off while you're taking the quiz. Because if you log out in the middle of the quiz, it'll just save that score with zeros for all the problems you didn't try yet. But on the homework, you can always log out and come back later and finish all the problems. The quizzes you have to do right at that time. You can't log out and finish later. And then, let's see, the midterms. We kind of already talked about that. They must be taken on the scheduled days and times given. If you can't make it, please contact me as far ahead of time as you can. If you contact me afterwards, there's nothing really we can do. We'll have to figure something out. Like, usually what I'll do is your final exam score will replace your midterm score. So that way your final can count for both. But the earlier you contact me about not being able to make a midterm, the more likely we are to be able to schedule something else. But those are the days of them. And then I'll remind you as it gets closer, but what we're going to need to do is bring a photo ID to your midterms. And I'll remind you as the midterms get closer, but it's pretty much just so it proves to me that you are who you say you are. You're not, it's not someone paying you to take the test for them or something. And you can bring, of course, a calculator and a pencil. And let's see, I forgot to say it here, I think, but you can bring a 3x5 note card. We'll talk more about that too with, whatever you want on there. Notes, formulas, examples, front and back. And back. And that's only because there's a lot of material that we cover in this class. And then, so the midterm has a lot going on. It's hard to remember everything. But if there's any formulas you don't think you'll be able to remember, or if there's a certain type of problem that you think you'll forget how to do, you can always have an example on your note card, or just any kind of notes. Whatever you want can be on there. And for the midterms and the final. But the final, that says final exam must be taken on May 1st. Same time, same place. You'll bring your photo ID, same kind of thing, a calculator and a pencil. And for midterms and finals, you can't use your phone as a calculator. You can't use your phone in any way, or iPad, iPhone, musical devices, any of that stuff can't be allowed because all those have ways you can cheat when you're using them. That's why. And then makeups, there are no makeups allowed for the exams, quizzes, or homework. Only with verified, extenuating circumstances will missed homeworks have their scores replaced with the final exam score, like I mentioned. Yeah, let's see. And then grading, this is kind of how everything breaks down. The homework is worth 15% of your grade. The video notes, the notes that you're taking as you're watching the lecture videos that are turned in at each midterm, maybe I'll mention that, turned in at each midterm. Those are your notes. They're worth 5% of your grade, which isn't a lot, but you having to watch the lecture videos to understand the material anyway, you might as well get credit for it. And then all the quizzes together are worth 25% of your grade. The 2 midterms are worth 30% of your grade, so each one's worth 15. And then the final exam's worth 25% of your grade. So that's kind of how it breaks down. Hopefully that all adds up to 100%. Does it? Uh-oh. Yeah. 20, 45. Okay, yeah. Whew. And then your final grading scale is pretty standard. You know, 90 to 100 is an A. 80 to 89.5 is a B. So actually this should say anything greater than 89. If you have 89.5, I'll round it up to an A. Or an 89.6, 89.7. And then, yeah, 80 to 89.5 is a B. 70 to 79.5 is a C. 60 to 69.5 is a D. 0 to 59.5 is a F. But of course, if you had 59.5, like 59.51 or something like that, that would round up to a D. Yeah, so I round up for 1 decimal place. And then attendance, you know, attendance is kind of hard to do in an online class. But these will be the ways that I'll know that you're not really attending the class anymore, quote unquote. If you don't register by January 25th, like I said, you'll be dropped. If you miss either midterm or the final, and we haven't talked about it, and you don't email me in the next, 48 hours after the midterm or final, then you'll be dropped. Because those are required, those meetings, unless you talk to me ahead of time. And then these last 2, I'd probably try to contact you before I drop you, because these aren't as big a deal. If you receive a score of less than 50% on any 3 past due homework assignments, that kind of makes me think you're not really interested in the class anymore, because you have an unlimited number of times to do the homework. So there's not really a reason to get a bad score unless you don't have the time for the class anymore, or if you miss a quiz. So those, I don't know, I'd probably email you and say, what's going on? Is everything okay with you? Or do you want to drop the class or not? But if you want to drop the class, then you should do so by January 26th, which is only 9 days away, right? That'll make sure that you don't have a W on your transcript. It'll be like this class never happened. But if you drop after January 26th, you have to do so by April 4th. You'll have a W on your transcript, but at least you won't have, you won't get a D or an F. So keep that date in mind. Then we have academic dishonesty. This pretty much just says don't cheat. If you're caught cheating on a midterm or a final, then you'll be reported and you might get kicked out of the school. And it says here what cheating includes: pretty much looking at someone else's paper or something like that. So then if you need some kind of special accommodations, especially if for the midterms or the final, please let me know. If you have any verified physical, medical, psychological, or learning disability, or perhaps you feel you may have one of these disabilities which impacts your ability to carry out assigned coursework, please contact the DSPS department. I have their phone number. Let's see here. Well, this is the East Campus phone number. This is the West Campus phone number, because they're the ones that kind of coordinate what students need with me or with the instructors. Sometimes students take their tests in another room where it's quieter, and sometimes they get extra time. Kind of depends. So if you think you might qualify for this program, please call them. It couldn't hurt, of course. And please let me know if you need any accommodations at all. Seriously. And let's see, this just says information about this course. This says even though this is an online class, it's not really self-paced. There are concrete due dates. It's not like everything's due the last day of the semester or something. There are due dates that if you let it pass, then you won't get a good grade, of course. So you got to kind of stay on top of things and log into Canvas often to check due dates and look at announcements. I'll be putting out announcements once in a while that might be important. And then, of course, don't get behind. Try to stay on top of things. And then we got, and this is This was supposed to be for if we met in person for orientation. But maybe at the first midterm, if you kind of start talking to someone, you know, start up a conversation, it's a good idea to have a couple people's name and contacts, either email or phone number, just so if you get behind or you're kind of confused on something, you can ask them. Sometimes that helps to have someone, a classmate, to talk to about things. Of course, you can always ask me, but I notice students feel more comfortable asking other students for things or have, you know, asking questions. But it's up to you. And then this page, this is the second to the last page. It tells you how to register for MyMathLab. So after we go over this syllabus, I'll show you how to get to the website and all that. But to register for MyMathLab, this is our Math 111 thing. We'll go to the Canvas website and I'll show you. But these are the steps if you forget later. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's basically, we're going to go to Canvas, try to click on a homework assignment like it says here. Let's see. Yeah, click on a homework assignment. It could be any of them. I happen to pick the first one there called Review Homework. But you can click on any homework assignment. It's going to either have you sign in if you've used a Pearson product before, either MyMathLab or MyPsychLab or MySpanishLab, something like that. And you probably already have a username and password, so you'll sign in. But if you've never used it before, you're going to create an account. And you can either use an access code you bought in the bookstore or bought on Amazon or bought on some website, or it'll prompt you to just pay for it at the time. And I think that's the cheapest option. I think if you just try to click on a homework, register, and then pay for the access code on their website, that's the cheapest option, I'm pretty sure. And if you hear me, yeah, and that's just pretty straightforward from there. Once you pay for the course, I think it's pretty good. Oh yeah, that's another thing, is that they have a 2-week free trial. So especially because, like I said, I'll be looking on January 25th. If you're enrolled in MyMathLab, then you won't be dropped. But if you're not enrolled, you will be dropped. So if you think, oh man, I won't be able to buy the access code until then, like maybe you don't get paid for a while, or you know, for some reason financial aid's not in, whatever it is, you can always do this 14-day, 2-week free trial in the meantime, and that'll show me that you're interested in the class. Maybe you just haven't paid for the access code yet. But if you do that, they'll give you the option on MyMathLab as you try to register. But if you've done that, this is how you upgrade to full access later. After the 2 weeks are over, this is how you would actually pay for it and get full access for more than 2 weeks. And then the last page is just like I was mentioning, it's a schedule of what's due what day of the semester. So it has all of our 16 weeks here. And it kind of tells you what sections we're going to be covering, what lecture videos to watch and all that. So of course the first week, this is Friday of the first week. There's nothing going on. Orientation, nothing due. But let's see this. The third column of this little table here, this guy, it tells you the homework that's due on Wednesdays. So every Wednesday, you can look, say, okay, this is week 2. What homework is due? It's section 1.4, which is review, and section 2.1. Okay, I better do that. And then the third week, you say, okay, today's Wednesday. What's due? 2.4 and 2.5. After that, it's only one section due every Wednesday, pretty much. And then every Saturday, we said there's another homework assignment due. So if you're in week 2 and you say, all right, today's Saturday, what's due? 2.2 and 2.3 are due. You know, and on and on and on. In week 3, this section and this section are due. Yeah, usually toward the end of the semester, there's only one section due every day. But in the beginning, it's kind of simpler review type stuff. So it might be more than one section due. And then the very final column, the rightmost column, is the quizzes that are due that day. So it's either we're going to have a midterm on that Friday or we're going to have a quiz. So notice of course, today's orientation, no quiz. But next week, week 2, we're going to have a quiz on chapter 2. And then the week after that, we're going to have a quiz on the later part of chapter 2. And then the fourth week, this is a long chapter, I guess, huh? The very last part of chapter 2, we'll have a quiz on that part. On and on and on. There's either a quiz every week or, like in this week, there's a midterm. And then there's a bunch of quizzes every week until the 11th week of class. That's when midterm 2 is. And then a quiz every week until the final. So just that way, you know, every Friday you can expect to be tested somehow. You're either tested with your quizzes or you're tested on a midterm. So that, I don't know, that schedule really helps me keep track of what's what. But there'll be due dates on Canvas anyway, so they don't really need necessarily this schedule. It's just nice to have it, I guess. But now, like I was mentioning before, let me show you how to get to Canvas. Oh, I'm cheating here. Don't look at this. Just kidding. But you want to go to the MJC web, you know, the base homepage. MJC, and then click over here on the top right corner. See this, I don't know if it's a sun or a, I don't know, is it a flower? What the hell? Anyway, click on that guy. That's how do you get to Canvas. And then you're gonna either, if you've never been on Canvas before, you log in with your student email, and I think it's the same password as your student email. So as long as you can log into your student email, you should be able to log in here too. And then you're gonna go on the very left side. I don't know if you noticed it says courses over here on the very left. I'm gonna click on that. You should only have probably the classes from this semester listed here. I need to clean this up. Let's see. We are Math 111, Spring 2020. So I'll click on the appropriate class. Okay, and then our homepage is just the modules. So that way you don't get lost or anything. This first module up here says Start Here. This is just a bunch of information, like the class schedule. This is pretty much the last page of the syllabus. It says what's due when, and about your instructor if you give a crap. Course structure, this, I guess, kind of how you navigate Canvas, sort of. And then course syllabus, it's just an extra copy of the syllabus in case you lost it. And then this is my contact info and grading policy. Student contract is just, it says if you are still enrolled in this class after you read the syllabus, then you've accepted the syllabus. You've accepted everything on the syllabus. And then student support services, it kind of says, and see, actually that's an important thing. Let me see, that couldn't hurt. There's the Canvas help desk. So if you need help with Canvas, or on campus, there's student services, the library, which has free tutoring and free calculator rentals, financial aid, disability services, like we talked about before, and so a lot of good stuff there. Let me go back. If you ever want to go back, just click on modules here. Not the very leftmost blue column, but this column of blue words, modules there. So that's all just kind of information about the course. And then we have what's actually due every week. So week 1, this is our orientation video. It's going to be linked here, hopefully. And then, so week 2 is when things start happening. So I'll click on the first thing. This is our lecture video for the very first section we cover. It's a review section. But it's just a YouTube video I made of me explaining the concepts of complex numbers and then working a bunch of problems. So you'll watch that. Like I said, we'll take notes in the notes or on a notebook that you have. And then after you do that, you're supposed to have watched this video, and then you're going to click on the homework. This is where, if you've already logged in, then it should list the homework problems, and you can just complete all the homework problems here on Canvas. There's no need to go to MyMathLab unless Canvas is down. So here, this is the homework assignment, and these are all the problems here. I can click on the first problem. But if you haven't registered with MyMathLab or bought the access code, then right here is where it'll prompt you. Do you want to log in? Do you already have an account? Or do you want to create an account? Whichever one you choose, then it'll say, do you want to pay for the access code now, or do you already have an access code? But either way, then once you get the access code, then everything's on this website. All your quizzes, all your homework. Pretty much, you never have to go to another website, except if you want to read the ebook. That's when you'll be going to MyMathLab's website. Or like we said, if Canvas is down. But that's pretty much it. Let's see, I'll go back to modules just so we can look at it. Blah, blah, blah. And notice at the end of the week, there's a quiz due here. So quiz 2, and then we got week 3. So it's kind of sectioned off by weeks, which is kind of nice. So, once you finish one week, something's due the next week, and on and on and on. Blah, 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 blah. I got to change the due dates here. It looks like they're all due April 30th, but that's obviously not the case. That's my next assignment for myself, is fix the due dates on here. But I think that's pretty much it. That's all I can think of. So please, if I forgot a detail, please let me know and ask me. Email me either through Canvas or through my actual email that I listed at the top of the syllabus. But I look forward to meeting you at our first meeting on the midterm, February 21st. Please let me know if you have any questions at all, right now or throughout the semester, anytime. Anyway, have a nice day.